What's good, people? Quick video, second video of the day. And the reason why I wanted to do this was because I wanted to highlight some things, obviously, that I've talked about before, and how comic book writers and TV um, writers and producers, they have this sort of thing about them where they are trying to constantly retcon and constantly tokenize characters. And it's not just newer writers. And when I say newer writers, usually I'm not just talking about newer writers, as in writers in that have recently come up in the past decades. No, the let's say that it's hard to say the talent level, but it's more so how they, I guess, display their talent. But I would say that writing in general, in terms of comic books, has severely declined over the past, couple of decades. Has been a steady decline, and I would blame politics for that. Not to say that America or American politics, people weren't obsessed with them before. We didn't have this element of social media that we had to worry about, which is what we have to now, and which now people are fairly open with their politics. They're letting you know, and that agenda is certainly there, in which they're trying to use the mediums that they are part of, new and old writers, to instead of worrying about good storytelling or anything like that, they're using it to just, again, project their own ideological nonsense is what we have. So we have Mr. Jerry Conway, which meant, if you know, he's the co-creator of Punisher and some other guys as well. I believe he was one of the first, if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the first Carol Danvers writers, like Miss Marvel writers, that is. But I know he's done Punisher. I think Firestorm he co-created. It's some people in the mix. I can't remember, but yeah, Jerry Conway is oh well, yeah, obviously, yeah, Miss Marvel, Power Girl, Vixen, yada yada. Passionate liptard, and if you go on his page, all it is leftist nonsense. That's all it is. All it is leftist garbage. These guys are not hiding people. I don't know why a lot of comic book guys aren't on this shit like I've been trying to tell them to get on this shit. It's not just you got to pay attention to that sort of stuff. No matter how much you want to ignore it, this is what they do. They're trying to utilize the positions that they are in to perpetuate their nonsense. So now we have something as stupid, and this is by far one of the most stupid things that I've heard. Somebody's asking who is the pick for Alfred in Batman, and he names Maggie Smith. So essentially, he wants to turn Alfred into a woman. More tokenization. It's a race, bro. It's a race to see how many characters, classic characters, that they can sort of run into the ground and tokenize. It's like it's a contest. That's what it feels like almost, because it's completely unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary to change Alfred like that. Just go get some freaking British guy and call it a day. Like this, it's not necessary to change him into a woman. That is totally unnecessary. Now, granted, yes, some of you guys are like, well, people would, the NPCs will get mad at that because it's a female butler and all of this shit. Let's not talk about that. I don't want to talk about that too much. I just want to focus on the fact of how stupid it is, and this is what they do. This is just what they do, bro. And this is why you're seeing all of these. You're not seeing fresh ideas anymore. You're seeing tokenized characters over and over and over. These copies of characters that already exist, and they turn them into females, they turn them into black characters, and so forth. And when they cross over into television and film, they take a character and they say, well, yes, there's a million actors and actresses that we can get to play this character that looks like, or more so along the lines of how they look in the comic. Instead of doing that in the race they are in the comic or gender, instead of doing that, let's just change everything. Fuck, bros. And because it's Jerry Conway, you're seeing that it's not just writers that have come up in recent years. This is a point that I brought up before, in which it's current and recent writers, but then some of them have been around. It's just in the political landscape, everybody wears their politics on their, on their sleeve, and they just that they got to put a megaphone on it and let you know, and they will suddenly use art that exists. This is why you're seeing a decline in people's writing abilities, because now it's more about signaling. It's more about all of this other nonsense instead of just coming up with good stories. This doesn't do anything but piss people off and changing Alfred into a woman. Nothing. And if you can't get people, let's say, attention, then maybe it's time to retire as a writer, as a producer, or whatever. If you can't get people's attention without doing utterly stupid shit like this, and maybe it's time to just give the shit up. Maybe it's time to give it up, because you don't have the creativity that maybe you once had in the past. Because I got to do shock value shit. Well, I know nobody's asking for it, but what happens if we turn Alfred into a woman? Oh, man, I just got to get the people talking. It's fucking stupid, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, bros, it's not just younger writers. It's not just the folks that are my age. It's folks that are double and triple my age. Well, double. Let's say double. Triple my age is going to be pretty damn old. Damn!